And the sun-kissed streets of Jacksonville Beach. A senseless act of violence shattered the tranquility of a typical morning, leaving a community in shock and a family in devastation. On a fateful day, a devoted father had just dropped off his children, unaware that his life was about to be brutally cut short. As he walked back to his car, a hail of bullets rang out, striking him down in a senseless and brazen attack. The sound of gunfire echoed through the streets, leaving witnesses in a state of panic and disbelief. The victim, a loving father and pillar of the community, lay motionless on the pavement, his life slipping away in a pool of blood. This is the case involving Jared Bridegan. It is important to emphasize that the investigation into the death of Jared Bridegan, a 33-year-old Microsoft employee and father of 4 young children, is still ongoing and no final conclusions have been reached for 2 years. The murder of Jared Bridegan has gripped the headlines of the Jacksonville area and piqued interest nationally. The Jacksonville Beach Police Department sprang into action, launching a thorough investigation into the heinous crime. Detectives scoured the scene, gathering evidence and piecing together the events surrounding the murder. As the search for the killer intensifies, the community comes together to support the grieving family, demanding justice for the senseless slaying of a man who had only moments before been dropping off his children. The case that would come to be known as the Jacksonville Beach murder would test the resolve of the investigators, the strength of the community, and the resilience of the human spirit. At present, 3 individuals have been apprehended and charged with conspiracy in connection to Bridegan's death, with 2 of them facing the possibility of capital punishment. The impact of this sensational story, which unfolded in the sunny state of Florida, cannot be overstated as it has reverberated throughout the entire nation. The central figures in this case are parents who were once united through marriage and have multiple children together. The motive behind the crime is shockingly ordinary, a dispute over the division of jointly acquired assets and custody of their children. However, the manner in which Bridegan's life was taken on bears resemblance to a complex detective plot. Jared Bridegan was born in 1989 in Florida, into a modest family where he was the second of 2 sons. He shared a close bond with his older brother, Adam, and the family were devout members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. During his teenage years, Jared met a girl named Mallory Bowden at church, and they developed a romantic relationship. Bowden would later describe Jared as her first true love. However, due to the discouragement of cohabitation within their religious community, their relationship did not progress to marriage. Consequently, when Jared completed his education at a Florida Arts high school in 2007 and decided to pursue further studies in another state, they went their separate ways. Jared relocated to Utah, where he enrolled in college and eventually met his first wife. In 2009, at the age of 20, Jared Bridegan encountered Shanna Gardner at a mutual friend's birthday celebration. Gardner, who was 2 years older than Jared, hailed from a prosperous family and was also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. During his teenage years, Jared crossed paths with a young lady named Mallory Bowden at their local church. Their bond blossomed into a romantic relationship, with Bowden later recalling Jared as her first true love. Despite their deep connection, the constraints of their religious community prevented them from pursuing marriage. Consequently, when Jared completed his studies at a Florida Arts high school in 2007 and decided to pursue further education in a different state, they went their separate ways. Jared relocated to Utah, where he enrolled in college and eventually met his future first wife. In 2009, at the age of 20, Jared encountered Shanna Gardner at a mutual friend's birthday celebration. Shanna, 2 years his senior, hailed from a prosperous family and shared his faith as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Born in 1987, Shanna's parents, Sterling and Shelley Gardner, were the founders of a successful company named Stampin' Up, specializing in decorative and craft items. By 2010, their business in Salt Lake City was reported to be generating an impressive annual revenue of $100 million. Shanna's sister, Sarah, held a managerial role in the family business. Growing up as an heiress in a wealthy household, Shanna was accustomed to a life of luxury and leisure, foregoing her culinary profession. Described as lively and capricious, Shanna caught Jared's attention by showcasing her opulent lifestyle, suggesting they could explore the world together with her parents' financial backing. Despite Jared's initial lack of interest, Shanna's efforts paid off, leading to their engagement mere months after their first meeting. In early 2010, less than a year later, the couple exchanged vows in a grand wedding ceremony at a temple in Salt Lake City, Utah, with the Gardner family generously covering all expenses for the event. The couple's hasty decision to tie the knot was heavily influenced by their religious beliefs, which discouraged cohabitation and long engagements. After exchanging vows, they settled in Utah, where the bride's parents assisted them in purchasing a lavish home worth approximately $1 million. Each partner owned a Mercedes, despite Jared still being a student and Shanna not holding a job. They embarked on numerous extravagant trips around the globe, showcasing their adventures, luxury purchases, and leisurely activities on social media. Close friends revealed that Shanna's parents provided the couple with $10,000 monthly for various expenses and granted them access to their accounts. Additionally, after Jared finished his studies, his in-laws generously gifted him $100,000 to kickstart his own business. In 2013, the couple welcomed twins, a daughter named Abigail and a son named Liam. The family later relocated to Connecticut, but Liam's health issues prompted a move closer to the sea for his well-being. The bride again settled in Florida, purchasing a cozy 2-story home near Ponte Vedra Beach. Shanna managed a popular blog on social media, showcasing her roles as a devoted wife, loving mother, skilled chef, and travel enthusiast. She prioritized fitness, hitting the gym regularly. Impressed by her dedication, Jared surprised her with a personal trainer. However, cracks began to show in their marriage shortly after the move, with the couple choosing to ignore the brewing issues. Shanna's disillusionment with their religion led to conflicts with Jared, who remained devout. This disparity in religious commitment caused friction, misunderstandings, and strain in their relationship. Allegedly, Shanna grew disenchanted with Jared, perceiving him as lazy and gaining weight, while making only half-hearted efforts to launch his business. After completing online programming and design courses, Jared landed a job at Microsoft, finally achieving financial independence. Over time, he rose to a senior manager position. Despite this, the couple drifted apart, leading to frequent arguments. Tensions peaked when Jared stumbled upon intimate messages between Shanna and her personal trainer. Reports suggest Shanna had an affair, confirmed by the trainer in a conversation with Jared. Although Shanna denied the allegations, Jared reached out to Mallory Bowden via email, expressing concerns about his wife's emotional attachment to her trainer. He was willing to forgive her infidelity for the sake of their children. In 2015, after almost 6 years of marriage, they initiated a contentious divorce, battling over assets and custody rights. Jared accused Shanna of infidelity, which she denied, citing a loss of love in the marriage. Shanna accused Jared of cruelty. She refused to split their assets, arguing that most were gifts from her parents. Jared, who had recently started working, claimed a share of their home. Disputes over custody of their twins also arose, with Shanna claiming Jared tried to alienate the children from her. He purportedly guided them on what to say about their mother and documented their statements for court presentation. Jared, on the other hand, accused his former spouse of extensive surveillance, which included installing hidden cameras in their residence, tapping his phone conversations, and placing a tracker in his vehicle to monitor his whereabouts. Shanna pursued exclusive custody of the children and sole ownership of their coastal home. She also alleged that Jared threatened to deplete all the funds from their children's trusts for his personal benefit. In response, Jared claimed that his ex-wife avoided paying taxes by working off the books at her parents' business and receiving substantial sums of money. Despite the court's decision to grant joint custody of the children by the end of 2015, the ongoing disputes between Jared and Shanna persisted. Even after their divorce was officially finalized, they continued to engage in legal battles for nearly 7 more years, culminating in a tragic end to their story. By then, both had moved on to establish new families and have additional children. Jared met Kirsten, a fellow Microsoft employee from North Carolina, in 2016. Initially, their relationship was strictly professional, but it gradually evolved, leading Kirsten to relocate to Florida to be with Jared a few months later. They tied the knot in the fall of 2017, and in February 2019, they welcomed their first child together, a daughter named Bexley. Their son, London, was born in August 2021. Shanna also remarried in 2018, marrying Mario Fernandez, a real estate business owner who was a year younger than her. In the same year, they welcomed their son, Michael. The family resided in the same house where Shanna had lived with her first husband, Jared, a property that had been at the center of their legal battles. Despite the presence of new families, the animosity between the former spouses persisted, leading to continued lawsuits and new demands. Jared was adamant that Mario, Shanna's new husband, should not be allowed to be with the twins in their mother's absence. However, he wanted his own wife, Kirsten, to play an active role in raising his older children. The last court meeting between Jared and Shanna took place 4 months before Jared's untimely death and was filled with intense tension. They exchanged accusations and fought over their property rights. Shanna claimed that Jared was purposely preventing her from using the family's larger and more comfortable vehicle to transport the children, prioritizing his desire to humiliate her over the convenience and safety of their own kids. As a result, the court granted Shanna exclusive rights to use the larger vehicle and ordered Jared to compensate her with $600. According to their agreement, Jared would pick up the twins every Wednesday for a family dinner, which included their younger sister, Bexley. Sometimes, Kirsten would join them, but after the birth of their newborn, London, she preferred to spend most of her time with the baby and avoided leaving him with babysitters. On Wednesday, February 22, 2022, Jared followed his usual routine and took the children to a coastal cafe after picking them up. After dinner and a leisurely walk, he dropped off the twins at their mother's house and began his journey home along his regular route. This route included a deserted stretch of road without streetlights, which took approximately 40 minutes to traverse. It was during this part of the journey, around 9 in the evening after the sun had set, that Jared encountered an unexpected obstacle. Driving cautiously and mindful of his 3-year-old daughter sleeping in her car seat, he suddenly noticed a tire lying in his lane illuminated by his headlights. Jared stopped his car, activated the hazard lights, and stepped out to move the tire to the side of the road. Unfortunately, it was at this moment that shots were fired, leaving Jared with no chance to escape. The assailant, displaying deadly precision, fired multiple bullets at close range before fleeing the scene. The child sleeping in the car was unharmed. A passerby in the vicinity heard the gunshots and cautiously approached, finding Jared lying in a pool of blood. He promptly contacted the authorities and medical personnel, but unfortunately, it was too late to save the victim. Kirsten had spoken to her husband just moments before the tragedy, and he had mentioned dropping off the kids and being on his way home in approximately 15 minutes. However, as time passed with no sign of Jared and no response to calls, Kirsten grew increasingly worried. Upon calling his number again, she was informed by a police officer about the incident and asked to come to the Jacksonville Beach Police Station immediately. The investigative team at the scene determined that a tire obstructing the road had caused Jared's vehicle to stop. It was believed that he got out of the car to clear the obstacle and was shot. His 3-year-old daughter, asleep in the car, was unharmed, suggesting she was not the intended target of the unknown assailant. Additionally, no items were missing from the vehicle, as a wallet with money, a phone, and a tablet were found untouched, quickly ruling out a robbery motive. When questioned about potential enemies or conflicts involving her husband, Kirsten mentioned only his first wife, Shanna, as someone who might wish him harm. However, she refrained from making any direct accusations without concrete proof. The police noted the absence of surveillance cameras in the area where the incident took place. A witness who heard the gunshots described how they shattered the quiet of the night, without any screeching tires, screams, or other noises preceding them. They did mention hearing a vehicle speeding away, although nothing was visible in the darkness. Kirsten's implication of Shanna's potential involvement in the crime was considered credible by investigators, although they were aware that it was improbable for her to have directly participated, especially given her solid alibi of being at home with her husband, children, and visiting parents. The authorities decided to review footage from nearby surveillance cameras, which revealed an old dark blue Ford F-150, with brown trim entering the vicinity 15 minutes prior to the incident and departing shortly after the shots were heard. Seeking assistance from the public, detectives appealed for help in identifying the vehicle. Jared's family made televised pleas, encouraging anyone with even the slightest information related to the case to step forward. Despite being repeatedly questioned, Shanna and her current husband Mario vehemently denied any connection to the murder. Shanna openly acknowledged the complexities of her relationship with her ex-husband, but maintained that she harbored no ill will towards him. She also shared how her 9-year-old twins reacted to the tragic news of their father's passing. Abigail wept inconsolably for hours, while Liam remained in a state of shock and silence. Notably, neither the ex-spouse nor the older children attended Jared's funeral. Kirsten had informed Shanna that her presence at the service was unwelcome, prompting Shanna to declare that if she was not permitted to attend, the twins would also not participate in the burial. It wasn't until January 2023, nearly a year after Mr. Bridegan's death, that the first suspect was apprehended. The authorities had maintained a discreet stance on the investigation's progress, emphasizing the substantial resources and dedication involved. Following an extensive search for the dark blue Ford F-150, a breakthrough occurred when the vehicle was involved in an accident but fled the scene before law enforcement could arrive. In this instance, the incident took place in a densely populated area where numerous individuals witnessed the event. Thanks to the presence of multiple camera recordings, the perpetrator was swiftly identified on the same day. The vehicle involved belonged to Henry Tinnan, a 62-year-old unemployed individual with a history of previous convictions. He has been charged with second-degree premeditated murder using a firearm, participating in a criminal conspiracy with the intent to commit murder, and setting up an ambush with an obstruction for the victim. Jacksonville Beach Police Chief Gene Paul Smith and City Prosecutor Melissa Nelson made these charges public during a press conference. It was also disclosed that Tinnan did not act alone and is cooperating with law enforcement by providing testimony against his accomplices. However, at that time, no other names were revealed in order to safeguard the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Recognizing the gravity of the charges against him and the potential lengthy prison sentence, Tinnan decided to strike a deal with law enforcement. He hoped that his cooperation would be viewed favorably during sentencing, potentially leading to a reduction in his punishment. Subsequently, information leaked to the press that Tinnan had been renting a small house with a friend, which was owned by Mario Fernandez. Tinnan's housemate was also questioned, but unfortunately he was unable to provide any significant information regarding the case. It is worth noting that he had no personal dealings with the owner of their rental property and solely passed his portion of the rent through Henry. However, a thorough search of the house uncovered a concealed pistol in Tinnan's room. Ballistic tests confirmed that this weapon was indeed the murder weapon, further implicating Tinnan in the crime. On March 16, 2023, Mario Fernandez was arrested after Tinnan officially pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against him, identifying him as the mastermind behind the crime. Fernandez now faces charges of first-degree murder, criminal conspiracy, and incitement to commit a serious crime. Rumors have circulated suggesting that Shanna may have played a role in orchestrating the murder. Her former lover, a fitness trainer, provided support for these claims. He recounted how she had expressed a deep-seated dislike for her then husband and had even expressed a desire for his demise. Additionally, a tattoo artist who Shanna frequently visited also testified, recalling how she would complain about the ongoing legal battles with her ex-husband and inquire if anyone could assist her in silencing him permanently. Initially, this inquiry was taken as a joke, but Shanna reiterated her seriousness months later, Despite these allegations, Shanna Gardner Fernandez vehemently denies all charges against her and has declared her intention to remain in town and cooperate with the investigation. However, a few months after her husband's arrest, she unexpectedly moved to Washington with their children. On August 17, 2023, she herself was arrested in her Washington apartment and extradited to Florida to stand trial alongside the other defendants. The motive behind her actions is believed to stem from complicated relationships with her ex-husband, a desire to avoid sharing custody of their children, and a drive to possess all disputed assets solely. The case is currently ongoing, and legal proceedings against all involved parties are underway. One of the defendants, Tenon, has pleaded guilty to all charges and is actively cooperating with the investigation in hopes of receiving leniency. Reports indicate that, due to his advanced age, he may face a substantial prison sentence of at least 15 years, which could be considered equivalent to a life sentence. Mario Fernandez, however, has only partially admitted his guilt and has chosen to exercise his legal rights by refusing to testify against his wife. On the other hand, Shanna Gardner Fernandez continues to vehemently deny all charges brought against her. Despite her denial, prosecutors are seeking the death penalty or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for both her and her husband. Currently, Shanna's 3 children are under the care of their maternal grandparents, Sterling and Shelley Gardner. In a dramatic turn of events, Shanna Gardner Fernandez remains steadfast in her denial of the charges levied against her, despite the mounting evidence and strong case presented by the prosecution. The stakes are high, as prosecutors push for the ultimate punishment, the death penalty or life imprisonment without parole for both her and her husband. As the legal battle reaches its climax, the community remains captivated by the twists and turns of this sensational case. The fate of Shanna Gardner Fernandez and her husband hangs in the balance, leaving many to wonder if justice will be served. Will the evidence prove convincing enough to secure a conviction, or will the defendant's denial sway the jury? The outcome of this gripping trial will have far-reaching consequences, leaving a lasting impact on all involved.